Hello, and welcome back to the third and final part of the Finch tutorials. The purpose of this final tutorial is to reinforce previous topics and have you try out some code on your own. So let's get to it. As you've done previously, we will first start by unzipping our final tutorial file. We will then open it up to see the contents. The final part we will be working with is named Dancing Finch. We'll double-click that file and then scroll down to the project.greenfoot file. Also inside are all the references to the classes containing the Project Greenfoot file. After our Greenfoot window opens, we will first resize the window so that we can see everything that it contains. To the right, we have our world classes and also our actor classes. You may recognize the Light Finch class from our previous demos. We chose to include this because we will be using some of the same techniques that we've used in the demo part 2. We will then take a look at our new class, the Dancing Finch class. As you can see in our previous examples, we have our Dancing Finch class that also extends actor. We also have our Green Finch class so that we can use all of the behaviors of the Finch robot. We also have something new called a Boolean statement. This statement is used to set whether something is true or false in the code. Here we have something very familiar called the ACT method. Here the ACT method is saying if the Finch detects an obstacle to its left or detects an obstacle to its right, then it's going to move forward. If it does not detect an obstacle to its right or left. Otherwise, if it does detect an obstacle, it's going to stop, first of all, change the color of the LED to red, and then the Finch is going to dance for us, as long as our Boolean statement is still false. At the top, we have it set to false initially, but as you can see, at the bottom of it finishing dancing, we have that same variable set to true. So once this ACT method is called again, the next part of the code will go here to where we have our comments. Now we have left this spot blank for you to go ahead and finish it. I will walk you through how to finish this code, but basically what we're going to do is try to make the Finch do a different type of dance this time because it had already done the square dance. Here's how we will insert our own code. Here we see that if the Finch has not already square danced, then the code under that if statement will be ran, and then square dance will be set to true. Because the condition of the if statement is if square dance is false, that part of the code can no longer be ran once square dance is set to true. So then our else statement will be ran instead. This is where we will add code that will make the Finch do a different type of dance once the Finch has already square danced. So we will start by deleting our comments in this part of the code, and we will use the above code as a template in order to make our Finch do a different type of dance. Here we see the variable at the top of our code referenced. Without this variable, we will not be able to use any of the behaviors that are contained within our Finch robot. So we must first add it at the top of our code, and then to use the behaviors, we reference them in our if and else statements. So we then type our Finch dot part of the code, and then our setwell speeds, which is a part of the Finch robot's code that we use to set the motor speeds. So we will then go ahead and add that on to our Finch dot at the bottom within our else statement. As for the numbers after, These two numbers correspond to the speeds that we want to set for the right wheel and the left wheel. So we will go ahead and choose some random numbers just to see how our Finch behaves at first, and we can change them accordingly after we test it. We then can copy and paste this next statement so that we don't have to retype it over and over, and then just change the wheel speed variables. Once we have our new Finch's dance squared away, we will then go ahead and set our square dance variable back to false. We will set this variable back to false so that the code can flip-flop between each else statement and the Finch will continue to dance. In the beginning of our code, our statement is first set to false so that our if statement can be ran. After that if statement, it then sets our variable to true, which will not allow that if statement to be ran again. It will automatically run our else and then flip-flop between the two.